There will come a day when you're alone, staring at your reflection, and you'll realize you were the only one who could have saved you. Not your parents, not your friends, just you, and you didn't. You folded when life got hard. You chose comfort over conquest, and that moment will haunt you more than any failure ever could, because deep down, you knew you were built for more. But you did nothing. And now the pain isn't temporary, it's forever. You either build a mind made of steel or get crushed by life's weight every single day. Mental toughness isn't optional, it's survival. The reason you're unhappy isn't life. It's not your job, it's not society, it's your weakness. It's the voice in your head that lets you give up when it gets hard. It's the tiny cowardly version of you whispering lies, telling you it's okay to quit, that it's okay to feel sorry for yourself. And you listen to it, you obey it. That's why you're stuck. That's why nothing changes. Because instead of hardening your mind, you've spent your life padding your excuses with comfort. You've been lied to since birth. They told you mental health is about talking more, crying more, opening up. And maybe that works for some. But what if your mind doesn't need comfort? What if it needs combat? What if you need to face the war instead of avoiding it? Life is pressure, life is chaos, life is unfair, and that's the point. It's designed to expose the weak and reward the resilient. The man who cracks under pressure never gets the reward, never builds the empire, never earns the respect, because he was too focused on being understood instead of becoming undeniable. Mental toughness is understanding that you don't need to be in the perfect mental state to perform. You need to perform regardless. You need to show up when everything inside you screams to stop. That's what separates the winners from the masses, the ability to act without emotion, to move without permission, to build under stress. If your emotions control you, they will own you. If your feelings decide what you do, you'll never do what needs to be done. You've been taught to seek peace, but no one told you that peace is earned through war. You can't meditate your way out of struggle if you've never earned the right to be still. Stillness means nothing if your soul hasn't tasted chaos. Discipline means nothing if it only exists when it's convenient. Mental toughness is not about smiling through pain. It's about being unmoved by it. It's about getting punched in the face by life and saying, that all you got? It's about staying on your feet when everything around you collapses. You don't just survive pain, you turn it into power. That's mental toughness. That's what the world respects. That's what breaks you out of mediocrity and into greatness. You want to know why you keep losing? Because your mind has no edge. It's dull, it's soft, and it folds under even the smallest weight. You crumble when someone insults you. You spiral when things don't go your way. That's not strength, that's emotional slavery. And the worst part, you justify it. You post quotes about self-care. You blame trauma. You romanticize your suffering like it makes you interesting. But suffering without strength is just self-pity. If you're not using your pain to grow, you're letting it rot you from the inside out. The world won't wait for you to heal. It'll pass you by, step over you, and keep moving. Only the mentally tough rise, because they don't wait for perfect conditions. They become the storm. There's no such thing as a mentally weak man living a great life. It doesn't exist. Not in this reality, not in this world. You either train your mind to become your ally, or it becomes your prison. And training it means suffering on purpose. It means doing what you hate repeatedly until it bends in your favor. It means embracing boredom, pushing through pain, taking action even when your soul begs for rest. Weakness is always louder than discipline. But when you silence it, when you prove you can lead yourself, you become unstoppable. You become dangerous. Because the man who controls his mind can't be controlled by anything else. There's no blueprint for toughness. It's earned in the unseen hours. When you wake up early and everything hurts, but you move anyway. When no one's watching, no one's clapping, no one's motivating you, and you show up anyway. When your plans fall apart and you hold the line without flinching. That's where mental toughness is forged. Not in books, not in podcasts, not in therapy rooms. It's built in the trenches, in the grind, in the solitude of discipline. Most men fear failure, but the mentally tough man welcomes it. Because failure sharpens him. Because rejection exposes what he needs to work on. Because pressure is a gift, it forces him to grow. If life isn't hard, you're not growing. If your days are too easy, your mind is weakening. Comfort is the real killer. It sneaks in silently and robs you of your edge. And you wake up one day wondering why you're anxious, lost, depressed. The answer's simple. You've been running from the hard stuff too long, and it caught up to you. You're not a victim, you're just undisciplined. You're not broken, you're just untrained. And the beauty of this realization is that you can change everything right now if you choose to suffer with purpose. If you choose to fight back against the weakness creeping into your life. Because the truth is, you don't need more support, you need more grit. You don't need to feel better, you need to get stronger. The man you want to become is on the other side of every excuse you've ever told yourself. Tear them down and build something stronger in their place. Mental toughness is the foundation of every great life. Without it, you'll fold. With it, you'll rise every single time. I remember waking up in a cold apartment, no heating, no food, no applause, just silence, just pressure. And the sound of my own doubts echoing in my skull like a drumbeat I couldn't shut off. People think it starts with success. It doesn't. It starts with silence. It starts in the dark. I didn't have a handout. I didn't have someone holding my hand whispering encouragement. I had bills. I had a goal, and I had the war inside my own head. That's where toughness is born, not in comfort, not in support, but in the brutal moments where you either become a man or die as a boy. That's the truth they don't tell you. I've sat on the floor with nothing but a cracked phone and a mind full of pressure, and I still showed up. Still trained, still worked. Not because I felt good, because I had already made a decision. I will not fold. People see the wins now, and they think it's talent, luck, some secret formula. They have no idea. They never saw the nights I went without sleep, chewing through anxiety, drowning in stress, and still choosing discipline. They didn't see the losses, they didn't see the betrayal, the backstabbing, the moments I had every reason to quit and didn't. Mental toughness isn't something you pretend to have online, it's something you earn in hell. You want a story? Here's one. I had a fight overseas. I got off the plane, sick, injured, tired, barely able to breathe. I'm in a country where I don't speak the language. There's no crowd cheering for me, no one hyping me up. I step in the ring knowing I'm not at my best. But I also know something they don't. I'm not here to feel perfect. I'm here to win anyway. That's mental toughness. Fighting not because the odds are in your favor, but because quitting isn't an option. That day I didn't just beat an opponent, I conquered myself. That's the real fight. That's the one most men lose before they even swing. Mental toughness, it's not motivational quotes and morning routines. It's dragging yourself out of bed with no one watching and pushing through the resistance your own mind throws at you. It's shutting up the voice that says, take it easy, and replacing it with the voice that says, this is what makes you a warrior. Every time life tried to bury me, I got sharper. Every failure gave me a lesson. Every betrayal gave me armor. I didn't become strong because life was fair. I became strong because I stopped expecting it to be. People love to talk about healing, but no one talks about hardening, about becoming the kind of man who doesn't break, the kind who feels pain and keeps walking. That's mental toughness. Not ignoring pain, but carrying it like fuel. Let me make this clear. The world owes you nothing. No one is coming to fix your life. If you're waiting for permission to become powerful, you've already lost. The only permission you need is your own pain. That pain is the invitation. Answer it. That's where greatness begins. I've had moments where everything collapsed, business deals fell through, people I trusted betrayed me. I've stood at the edge of everything I built, watching it burn. And you know what I did? I stood taller. Not because I liked the fire, but because I refused to kneel in front of it. That's what separates the strong from the broken. Not success, not skill, but the refusal to fold when things get ugly. Your story doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be yours. Own the pain, use it. That's the blueprint. People ask me how I stay focused. The truth is, I don't entertain weakness. I don't sit around romanticizing my struggles. I look them in the face and ask, is that all you got? Because once you've stared rock bottom in the face and walked away smiling, there's nothing left to fear. That's the kind of man the world can't control. And that kind of man, he builds his own future. He doesn't beg for one. Mental toughness means walking into hell and not flinching. It means building yourself from nothing and doing it with zero applause. It's knowing that pressure isn't your enemy, it's your forge. Every hardship in my life became a lesson, every setback made me sharper, and every moment I felt like quitting became the exact moment I pushed harder. That's how you build a mind that can't be broken. And let me tell you something people don't like to hear. Life is always testing you. Not once, not twice, every day. It throws problems at you not to destroy you, but to see what you're made of. And if you crack every time it gets hard, you don't deserve to win. You want to be respected? Learn to suffer in silence. You want to be powerful? Train your mind to do what's necessary when everything inside you wants to give up. That's real strength. That's how legends are made. Every man has two voices inside, one that says you can't and one that says try anyway. The one you listen to decides everything. And the reason most people stay average is because they obey the weak voice. They pamper it, protect it, feed it. I killed mine. I buried it under hours of pain, discipline, and action. Now there's only one voice left, and it speaks with fire. Mental toughness is not a talent, it's a decision. It's earned every day, in silence, through suffering, through sacrifice. And if you want a life that matters, you better start earning it now. Every single day, the clock is ticking. And while you're hesitating, doubting yourself, making excuses, someone else is sharpening their mind. Someone out there is becoming relentless while you're scrolling. Someone is embracing pain while you're dodging it. You think you got time? That's the biggest lie ever sold to weak men. You don't have time. You never did. Every second you waste in comfort is a second stolen from your legacy. I'll do it tomorrow is the anthem of the mediocre. There is no tomorrow for the man who refuses to harden his mind today. You have to understand this. Life is not waiting for you to get motivated. It's not going to pause while you figure things out. It's not going to slow down because you feel overwhelmed. Life is a storm. And if your mind is weak, it will swallow you whole. That's not a maybe, it's a guarantee. Be soft mentally, life will break you into pieces and leave you on your knees. Not because it hates you, but because that's how it works. And the world doesn't care how you feel about it. You either become unbreakable or you get broken. That's the game. And here's the harsh truth. Nobody is coming to save you. That's not cruel, that's reality. Your problems are yours. Your pain is yours. Your responsibility to fix it, also yours. Waiting for someone to understand you, feel sorry for you, help you get through it, that's weakness in disguise. The strongest men I know didn't become strong because they were supported. They became strong because they were abandoned, betrayed, left alone with nothing but pressure. And they used that pressure to forge mental steel. You gotta decide, are you gonna let pain define you? Or are you going to use it as your weapon? People talk about fear like it's something to avoid. I say, fear is a compass. It points directly to what you need to do. Afraid to start the business? That's exactly why you should. Afraid of failure? That's your training ground. Afraid of being alone? Then master solitude. Most men run from fear like it's a threat. when in reality, it's the only thing that will ever wake them up. You can either live comfortable and afraid your entire life, or you can face it and become a monster. Your mind was never meant to be your cage, it was meant to be your weapon. Sharpen it or surrender. And what about criticism? Most men crumble at the first sign of disapproval. Someone calls them out and they melt. Let me ask you something. Who are you trying to impress? People who haven't built anything? People who've never fought for a single inch in life? If the opinions of sheep are breaking your mind, how the hell do you expect to survive a world run by wolves? You want to be respected? Then earn it. Through action, through consistency, through becoming so sharp mentally that no insult can pierce you. You don't grow by being praised, you grow by being tested. Mental toughness isn't just about resilience, it's about intensity under pressure. It's about choosing to stay focused when chaos is screaming in your face. It's about training your mind to override emotion. That's the level most men never reach. You think I feel motivated every day? You think I always feel confident? No, I just don't let my feelings make my decisions. I made a vow that I would move forward regardless of emotion. That's the power. That's the difference between the average man and the dangerous one. The average man lets emotions dictate action. The dangerous man acts in spite of emotion. And that makes him untouchable. There will be moments when everything in you screams to quit, when the weight of life feels unbearable, when giving up feels like the only option. And in that exact moment, you have one choice that changes everything. Either surrender to weakness or embrace the war. That moment is your rebirth. That's when you either die mentally or become unstoppable. And trust me, once you choose the path of power, once you prove to yourself that you can walk through fire and not flinch, nothing will ever scare you again. People wonder why they feel anxious all the time, why they wake up with dread, why they feel lost. It's not because life is unfair. It's because they live in opposition to who they were born to be. Men weren't built for softness. We were made for struggle, for resistance, for dominance. When you live in alignment with that truth, the anxiety disappears, the depression lifts, the chaos becomes fuel. You don't need a therapist. You need a challenge. You need to get uncomfortable. You need to fight for something. That's what mental toughness is. It's not about being numb to pain. It's about embracing it and letting it sculpt you. Let me leave you with this. Every man will be tested, not once, over and over. Life will hit you with death, betrayal, failure, humiliation, and in those moments, what you've built in your mind is all that matters. The body will break, the money can disappear, the fame can fade, but your mind, that's forever. You build that right, and there's nothing that can destroy you. And that is what separates men who win from men who wish. There is no freedom without discipline, and there is no greatness without suffering. The man who chases comfort is unknowingly choosing slavery. You want to feel safe. You want it to be easy. You want people to clap for you. Then prepare to rot in mediocrity, because real power is forged in silence, when no one's watching, when your bones ache, when your mind screams to stop and you keep going, not for applause, not for validation, but because your soul demands it. That is mental toughness. That is the real difference between a man who merely survives and a man who dominates. You think champions are built by luck? You think they're born different? No, they just train their minds to do what weak men avoid. They face rejection, failure, isolation, fatigue, and they treat it as fuel. The truth is, you are either becoming a weapon or you're becoming a warning. Every single day, your habits, your choices, your self-talk, they're sharpening you or softening you. And the worst part, most men will never know how close they were to greatness because they gave up when life got inconvenient. They folded under pressure that was designed to sculpt them into titans. They bowed down to emotion and labeled it wisdom. They chose comfort and called it peace, and they died with their potential still locked inside them. Your mind is your throne or your prison, and you decide that. You either lead it like a king, commanding it with discipline, training it like a soldier, or it will turn on you, it will sabotage you, it will whisper weakness into your decisions and call it logic. You've worked hard enough today. You deserve a break. Tomorrow's a better time to start. Lies. All of them. The real you, the dangerous you, the disciplined, elite, high-performing, untouchable version of you. He's not on the other side of a motivational video. He's on the other side of your excuses. You kill the excuses and you meet the man you were born to become. People talk about willpower like it's some mystical gift. It's not. It's a choice. A decision you make every second of every day. You wake up tired, train anyway. You feel uninspired, execute anyway. You're in pain, push anyway. That's how you take back control of your mind. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. You want confidence? Earn it. You want power? Build it. You want to feel unstoppable? Then become the kind of man who shows up no matter how broken he feels. Because real strength isn't about smiling through struggle. It's about doing the work while bleeding and still demanding more from yourself. You've got to stop waiting for the perfect time. That version of you who's locked in, who doesn't get distracted, who doesn't fear failure, who doesn't beg for sympathy, that version doesn't show up because the stars align. He shows up because you force him out of hiding. You want to know the real secret? Nobody ever became mentally tough by doing easy things. Every second you resist your temptations, you build armor around your mind. Every day you train when you're tired, your brain learns to obey. Every time you reject comfort, you become more dangerous. And dangerous men don't need to speak loudly. Their presence does the talking. This world is run by men who didn't quit when everything went wrong, who got betrayed, mocked, doubted, outnumbered, and kept going because they weren't chasing claps, they were chasing legacy. And legacy is reserved for those who refuse to fold. You think it's supposed to be easy? It's not. It's supposed to break you. And when it does, you build yourself again, stronger, smarter, colder, sharper. You become the kind of man that even life respects. Because you didn't beg it for mercy, you beat it at its own game. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals it. That's why weak men hate it, but you were built for pressure. You just haven't proven it to yourself yet. You haven't gone far enough into pain to discover who you really are. You haven't pushed your mind to that place where everything hurts, and yet something deeper takes over. That fire, that storm, that force that no one can give you and no one can take from you. That's the edge you need. That's where mental toughness is born, not in motivational quotes, but in war. Daily war, against laziness, against doubt, against fear, against softness, against the version of you who settles. You go to war with that man every single day until he no longer exists. And hear me clearly, this isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming untouchable. It's about taking your pain, your fears, your doubts, and converting them into fuel. You use every scar as armor, every betrayal as a lesson, every failure as a strategy. Mental toughness doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you feel everything and move anyway. That's power. That's clarity. That's the mindset of a man who can't be broken because he's already been to hell and built a throne there. The truth is, life will never stop testing you. The storms don't end. But when your mind becomes unshakable, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. You stay locked in, focused, driven, dangerous. You start to operate on a different frequency. And people feel it, they respect it. Because in a world full of men chasing dopamine and shortcuts, you chose pain, you chose discipline, you chose to evolve. And that choice makes you untouchable. This is the moment where you make the choice that splits your life in half. Before this, you were reactive. You waited, you complained, you rationalized weakness. But now you either rise or you stay buried under the weight of your own inaction. Understand this clearly. Your life is the result of your standards. Not your dreams, not your intentions, not your hopes, your standards. What you tolerate is what you become. If you've been accepting average, that's what you'll stay. But if you decide here and now to raise the bar so high that even your own excuses suffocate at the thought of trying, you will become unstoppable. You were not born to play small. You weren't designed to blend in. You were crafted with the potential to dominate, to influence, to lead. But that version of you will never show up unless you demand him to. That's the truth most people never hear. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to wake you up at 5 a.m. No one's handing you discipline, strength, or resilience on a silver platter. You build it, you bleed for it, you sweat through the setbacks, you tear through the excuses, and you climb inch by inch until your mind becomes a fortress no weakness can enter. If you want to change your life, you need to go to war with yourself, not the external world, not your boss, not your haters, you. Because your greatest enemy has always been that soft voice in your mind that tells you to delay, to skip, to rest. The voice that says, you've done enough today. That voice has lied to you your entire life. It's dressed comfort up as kindness. It's wrapped laziness in the blanket of self-care. And now it's time to silence it, not with words, but with action. Daily, violent, unstoppable action. The kind of action that doesn't need motivation. It runs on purpose. It runs on obsession. It runs with the fire that comes when you refuse to live another day beneath your potential. You want mental toughness? Then act like it. Stop chasing things that drain your soul. Stop surrounding yourself with losers who normalize weakness. Stop letting your phone steal your focus, your purpose, your future. You become what you tolerate. If you tolerate distraction, you'll drown in it. If you tolerate weakness, you'll wear it like skin. But if you choose to operate like a savage, focused, unrelenting, self-governing, then everything changes, not just your results, your presence, your energy, your legacy, because the world starts to bend for those who refuse to bend for it. This isn't just about self-improvement. This is about self-conquest, about becoming so mentally sharp that no setback can pierce you, about waking up and choosing excellence over comfort until it becomes your default operating system. That level of focus doesn't come from wishing. It comes from sacrifice. You've got to be willing to give up who you were to become who you're meant to be. And let's be clear, not everyone can do this. Most people will run back to comfort the moment life gets heavy. But you were not built to break. You were not built to beg. You were